Hello, everyone, and welcome to Meet the Experts. I'm Dori Soukup, founder of InSPAration Management, and today we have a very, very special guest with us. She is Heather Goodchild. She is the Vice President of Professional Business for Colorescience, one of actually my favorite brands. Today, we're going to be discussing the importance of skincare products with your business and for your clients and your patients and your guests. So we have so much to talk about regarding this topic because it is one of the biggest missing points in most businesses that we actually start working with. Retail and skincare can be a huge revenue stream for you, and currently most businesses are totally missing out on that opportunity. So today we're going to explore the entire topic and bring to you the latest and the most recent information that will help you grow your business, plus deliver a great experience for your patients. So thank you so much for joining me today, Miss Heather. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you, Dori, for having me. It's a pleasure to be joining you virtually.
I know. Isn't it today's world?
It is today's world, absolutely.
I know, but you know what? This topic is so dear to my heart because, as a consulting firm, we always want people to be able to generate the most amount of revenue so they can be very successful, plus do right by their clients and patients. So therefore, I'm super excited to really be exploring this topic and sharing with everybody how we can make their lives better and their patients' lives better at the same time. But why don't we start by you giving us a little introduction on how you got involved in the industry, and then maybe give us a little overview about Colorescience.
Sure, I'd love to. So I, much like your clients and your customers, started off in the industry as a provider. So I was an esthetician. I like to tell people I grew up in dermatology. I started with a dermatologist through college, and that allowed me to really appreciate what you do for somebody in a practice and what that connection is. And that eventually led me into a little bit of time in pharmaceuticals and finding my way back to aesthetics, where I've been with companies that have given me the opportunity to really help businesses grow and understand the importance of skincare and what that means to what we call a comprehensive treatment plan. And Colorescience, I've had the pleasure of being with the brand now for almost 7 years.
Nice.
We are a company that is focused on skin health. We're most known for our product that's been around for a little bit now called Sun Forgettable. It's a way for people to reapply their sun protection throughout the day. Because as we know, the FDA shares with us that we need to be reapplying every 2 hours. And we're also known as an innovative company. So over the past 5 years, we have launched some blockbuster products that have become cult favorites, including Total Eye Renewal Therapy that is also an SPF 35. So you'll see with our brand multifunctional skincare that is always focused around bringing skin protection to the table as well. So we like to think about making skin protection simple, easy, something that you put on that actually makes your skin look better and that you want to wear every day.
Yeah, and it makes so much sense. And by the way, that's one of my favorite products that you have. Is the
Total Eye.
That it's phenomenal. I think it's everybody's favorite product. So let's go ahead and start. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Heather. And it's always nice to see colleagues and friends who have been in the industry for a long time. And I'm so thankful for people like you to have made that commitment to truly make a difference and make a positive impact on all the businesses that we work with. So let's start by sharing with everybody what are some of the things that Colorescience and yourself have noticed changes in maybe behavior or changes in how people are actually seeing skincare.
Especially given recent times, because things are ever evolving, we like to take the time to talk to our end consumer. And recently they shared with us that there are three important aspects of making that decision in terms of, are they going to purchase a skincare product or not? Mm-hmm. The number one thing they tell us that is the most important factor in terms of making a skincare purchase is, did their skincare professional make that recommendation specifically for them? So that's something where, we really help our partners, our practices that we work with, understand the power that they have and the importance in that recommendation. Sometimes I think that's maybe not as appreciated as much as they might understand in terms of how much their patients coming in are really looking for that. Mm-hmm. The second thing is they're looking for that skincare product to be applied on their skin. They want to know how to use it. Mm-hmm. If I'm going to get this, how do I use it when I get home? Not just that you're putting it on me, but how do I use it when I get home? Right. And then the third thing they want to know is it, how do I use it, apply it, but then how do I use it in my skincare regimen, for how long? Mm-hmm. These are details that sometimes we maybe glass over or don't give enough time to. And so it's really important for our team and our trainings that when we go to train our partners that we work with, we're not just talking about the ingredients that are in the product, but we're also talking about application tips and how to speak to that patient so that they know and get what's most important to them.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I'm so glad you outlined that, because at the end of the day, it's really all about educating the consumers on what they need to do. And that's exactly what you're doing. And that's the one thing that if they went to a drugstore or if they went to the department store, these are things that they're not going to be gaining. And that's why it's so important for the team within a medical spa or a practice to take the time to truly educate. So we call that, Heather, fulfilling your professional obligation. Because
I couldn't agree more, Dori. There's this concept of skincare as a service. And that's one of the things that we really believe is a differentiator for practices, is when they step back and I'm sure you've heard this, right? You work with a practice and they may tell you, or you may hear from their staff, we don't like to sell, right? And they view skincare as quote unquote selling. Yes. And our goal is to really help practices view skincare as a service, because at the end of the day, you can, Botox is Botox, a microdermabrasion machine is a microdermabrasion machine, but it's that person who is doing the injection or that person who is providing that treatment that is the differentiator. Yeah. It's the same thing with skincare. The product is the product, but the differentiator is the person who's making that skincare recommendation and telling that person, here's the best tips for your skin on how to use this product and how to apply this product because of your skin and what I'm seeing. Here's how you're going to get the most out of it. And so it's not just a commodity. It really is a service that the teams in these medical spas are providing to their patients.
Yeah. One of the things we come across, Heather, is the mindset. I think what you were mentioning, I don't want to sell, I don't want to push products, I don't want to do this and that. And truly, it starts with the shift of the whole mindset of the team, of the founder of the business, because the founder of the business sometimes is just as guilty because they're not putting those standards, they're not putting those expectations, those consequences in place. So what happens is they think that they're doing such a great job doing the treatment itself, but then they're totally forgetting about what you just mentioned, is the skincare is also a treatment, but it's a treatment for home. So that's the thing that I want our audience today to take away of the importance of that. And that's really where it should all start, because you could have the best products, right? But if the team is not making those recommendations, then you're missing out on your clients benefiting from great products like Colorescience.
Clients benefiting from the great products. So we have a motto: our job is not done until product is on skin, and that is because we know that the patients and consumers really value that experience in a practice. And the other element to that is there's the total outcome that is enhanced when they're using something that has been studied. We do studies to show that when they have a procedure and then Colorescience is applied, that not only are they not going to have an adverse reaction, but they're going to get a meaningful improvement as a result of using the product. So the clinic knows that these are well-studied products, so they can bring that authority to the table. The other side of that is that when skincare is done well, it is just as meaningful of a revenue producer for a business as another provider, or two providers for that matter. So it's two sides of it. It is making sure that we're providing the best outcome for the patients. And it's also making sure that we're providing that best business outcome for the practice as well.
Yes. I'm so glad you're touching on that, because that's one of the things as a consulting firm, we want them to generate revenue, because if they don't, the number one reason businesses go out of business is because they run out of cash. They have no cash flow. And skincare products are like one of the biggest revenue cash drivers in your business. And it's just amazing to me how many people really miss out on that opportunity. Have you seen now, in speaking with some of our members, we have seen a huge increase in online sales and online consultations. Let's talk a little bit about some of the experience that Colorescience is noticing regarding what we're going through right now with the coronavirus and the pandemic. How has that shifted the way people are actually buying skincare products?
It's shifted quite a bit, and I think in a very positive direction. So people and the average consumer is so much more educated than even 5 years ago, because the access to information. Now we need to make sure that information is credible, has foundation behind it, has science behind it. And so being able to be a practice that brings that education access to someone who maybe is not yet a patient. And one way that can be done, and that we're seeing be done from our partners, is improvement in blog content, being able to socially outreach, and not just thinking of Instagram as a promotional tool, but more as an educational tool, a way to invite that person who's looking for information into what you do as a practice, and allowing them to see the culture of your practice, your people, but also the outcomes and how you approach treatment plans. The key thing, though, that practices are learning, and I think you do a beautiful job of that, is if you're going to give them that information, you then want to be able to provide them with, how do I get in touch with you? How do I reach out to you? How do I make an appointment? Can I buy this directly from shopping your Instagram, or is that Instagram driving them to their website where they now have a web store? And so in terms of looking at future business planning, so many of our partners are telling us this year their investments are going to updating their websites, and they're working with companies like Shopify to build out a web store. One of the things we did as a brand this past year, and it was really working with our partners and realizing they needed a solution to reach their patients beyond the hours and walls of operation, because that's what people were looking for. So we built practice pages that allow our partners to put a link on their website. And it's custom branded to the practice. So it allows them to shop Colorescience. We make it easy and do the fulfillment and everything. But in doing that, since we've launched that, one of the things that has really taken us aback, and I guess not surprising, is that over 55% of the purchases made on our partners' practice pages are done on nights, weekends, and holidays.
Yes.
So again, we're going beyond the hours of operation. And why that's important to practices is because these are not usually initial purchases. These are those repurchases that often practices miss, because we get busy and it's, they're in for their treatment and we're talking about what's been going on in life, but we don't necessarily stop and check to see how that at-home treatment is progressing, and remind them that they should be ready for a refill. They should be ready for a repurchase. So being able to give them that easy access to repurchase and not have to maybe drive 45 minutes or an hour to pick something up, is a trend that we're seeing pick up with pretty great steam, and I don't think is going away anytime soon. I think that accessibility is here to stay.
Yes. We did something right in the middle of the shutdown. We launched a new program called the We Dare system, and we taught everybody how to do online consultations. And they were able to generate so much revenue from just getting in front of a Zoom like this and just getting to know their needs and then making those recommendations. I love having e-commerce. As a matter of fact, anybody that we work with that did not have a shop now has a shop. And that is so innovative on Colorescience part to actually create those pages for the clients and have the fulfillment. Because I have to tell you, one of the biggest problems my clients were telling me during the shutdown, even though they were making thousands of dollars recommending retails online, they were complaining about the shipping fees. They're like, Dori, I'm paying $2,000 in shipping fees. I'm like, that's a good problem. But now, if they have Colorescience, you're able to fulfill, which takes a lot of pressure off of them. They don't become a shipping company anymore, right?
Right.
So it makes it so much easier. So it is so nice to know that there are companies like yours that are actually doing that innovation to be a better extension for your practices and your med spas and everybody. So my hat is off to you on that one. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I think that's huge.
Yeah, we see too, being able to connect patients to practices like that and allowing our practices to start to bring that into not only their website, but now they can use that in emails. And so a best practice there for those watching, if you have a web store or you're using a service like Colorescience where your skincare brand offers you a customized practice page, utilizing that as that link, that shoppable link at the bottom of every email, so it becomes a consistent footer, and reminding your patients that they have that accessibility to be able to refill on your website is by far a best practice that we're seeing our partners start to utilize. So it's communication that is not just website driven, it's brought over to social, it's reinforced in email communication. So it becomes a synergistic strategy, if you will, for practices to utilize to say, we are your experts, not only for you to come in and have a treatment, we are your experts to make sure that what you're doing at home continues to drive the outcomes that you're looking for. And we're doing our homework on providing you education information on the brands that are going to be best for your skin.
Absolutely. And that to me, when you sit down and have those conversations, and I think that's probably one of the biggest problems we see, Heather, is that people are not having those in-depth conversations to truly take the time and know exactly what your clients, what your guest patients are looking for. And to go back to that education that we talked about earlier and truly caring, because retention at the end of the day is one of the most important things in a business. So as a consumer myself, like I'm not an esthetician like yourself, or I'm not a nurse injector or any of those medical professionals. But what I do know as a consumer, it's a zoo out there. Like, how does one know what is good for them? I mean, all you have to do is walk into a mall and you see all these products. Like, where do you start even? And that's the one thing that we really need to bring back to all the businesses that we work with, is the importance of truly delivering that great guest experience. Whether it's making the recommendations for the treatment, making the recommendations for the retail products, anything that makes their life better. And I know that you've come across some statistics that have been out for a little while, or some even recent statistics. They tell us that when people use your products, let's say I'm at home in my bathroom getting ready, and I have Colorescience sitting at my counter or in my cabinet, there's a linkage that happens every morning or every night when you're using those products. It reminds you of the business that you got the products from, and that's going to remind me to go get my Botox, to go get my hydrofacial, to go get this or that. Can you expand on that a little bit and what you guys see, and maybe some studies even that you guys know about and how they can improve that?
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Everything that you just mentioned in terms of that connection of reminder of, I just went and saw my esthetician or saw my nurse injector or saw my physician. They made this recommendation. I got the product and now I'm using it every day. And there's an element of skincare that we believe, when you give them a product that changes something about an aspect of what they don't love, right? There's usually a reason why they've come to see you. There's something that they're not loving about a wrinkle, a spot, a pimple, you name it, right? So when you're, as a provider in a business, when you're able to make that meaningful difference and improve that for them, there is not just a connection, a business connection of I'm going to continue to buy there. There's an emotional connection that takes place. And when you have a brand like, for instance, Colorescience, when you have a brand that's multifunctional and provides not only a long-term benefit, so as they continue to use it, they see improvement, but gives them some immediate improvement. We have seen, and our studies have shown when we've looked at, when we've studied our products post-procedure, there's an element that happens where if you've ever walked into a practice, you can see patients who've just had a procedure done. And we've observed this ourselves. Oftentimes they're at checkout and they do what we call the chin down, which means they're looking down because they don't want to make eye contact with somebody. They're feeling vulnerable. They're feeling self-conscious because they know that they're probably red or that they don't look, quite yet the way they want to look.
Yes.
So when you're able to provide a product like Colorescience that not only protects them and also gives them some color correction, you go from a chin down moment to a chin up moment.
I love that.
When they walk out of your practice, they are now your billboard, right? They are your business card, and you want your business card to be confident. You want your business card to feel good about what's been taking place for them so that they share that experience with others and you generate that word of mouth. But that is something from a study standpoint that we've identified when your team is applying product post-procedure, we call it the finishing touch. And the finishing touch because your treatment isn't truly done until you've protected their skin and they can walk out of your practice feeling more confident than when they walked in. So what we've studied this, and we have found that when practices do this, not only is the patient walking out more confident, but they're also 97% more likely to rebook that procedure that they've just had right then and there.
Yeah.
And so that's the business aspect of it. We go back to what we talked about at the beginning. There's the emotional outcome side of it and the improvement in the skin. And then there's the business side of it, where we want them not just walking out, but we want them rebooking their procedure before they walk out. And that was an impact that was done directly related to a skincare product, not necessarily the treatment. So you can really start to see that link between skincare and an office procedure.
Yes, for sure. I want to get everybody excited about the revenue opportunity that they could have from skincare products. What would you say, from being part of Colorescience, what are some of the most successful people doing as far as skincare, like revenue generation? Could you get everybody excited for us?
Sure. So we call it the $1 Million Club. When we work with our top practices, we often do what we call optimization or benchmarking when our strategic team is working with practices. And one of the things we will ask them is, can you share with us your overall retail revenue? And what we've seen is top practices are no longer telling us, oh, we do a couple 100,000 in retail every year. We are now at the time where top practices are doing $1 million plus in skincare sales annually. So from a revenue standpoint, I think that's one aspect to get really excited about, particularly when you think about the average med spa is doing about, I think AmSpa recently reported the average med spa does about $1.5 million in revenue annually.
Yeah.
So if you could double that just by paying attention to your skincare, that's an exciting element.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, right. Exactly. What would you do if you're a business owner right now and you're watching this? Think to yourself, what would that $1.5 million or $1 million mean to your business? What would you do with it?
Yes.
What could you do with it?
What lifestyle could you have? What could you reinvest? You could scale, open up another location. I mean, the opportunities are endless. And that's why I wanted to discuss this, Heather, because those are the missed opportunities that we see all the time. And that's why we like to teach systems to make sure that you can generate that $1 million, $1.5 million more in just retail. And you know what the exciting part, Heather, is? They don't have to gain one more client. They don't have to spend any more money on marketing. They don't have to hire any more people. This is taking what they have now and just being more aware, changing the mindset, having a good compensation model in place to motivate and excite, and then just doing it, implementing a system to really make sure that the team does it. And when they do that, everybody should be making $1 million. I mean, think about it. It's how many billions of dollars industry, self-care industry, I think is what, an $80 billion industry or something like that. So
it's actually projected to be a little bit bigger than that. I was just attending a conference and they had it in the projection as 200 billion. So
wow, there you go. They must be including a lot of different things in there. But the sad thing to me is the med spa industry, the wellness industry, the medical practices with aesthetic medical practices within them, we're not even tapping into a sliver of that market share. And that's the biggest missed opportunity, again, that I really wanted to bring out to everybody with your help today, to make sure that they are aware and how they can change that and start bringing in that revenue while satisfying their guests at the same time. So it's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing. And oftentimes we get asked, okay, you've got me excited. I get it. I need to pay more attention to this. Where do I start?
Yes.
And you hit upon it beautifully earlier. The first place you start as a practice owner is deciding that this is going to be part of what we call your philosophy, which means you've got to outline for your team that as a practice, we believe that a treatment plan is not done until we have offered the service of how skincare is important to that, relates to that, and is going to optimize their outcome. Then the team understands it's not just about selling. So that's step one. Step two is to determine what are those processes and protocols going to look like. So from an intake standpoint, how are you going to allow that conversation to start? Are you going to ask about what products they're currently using? That's a best practice, is to start by a new patient asking where they are. The other aspect of that protocol is what happens at checkout. We call it the patient journey. So every element of the patient journey needs to have a component of the team reinforcing that skincare is part of the outcome, and skincare is not an optional thing. Exactly. It's a must-have. And we've even started to see, from a protocol standpoint, we've even seen practices when it comes to lasers, they're now putting it on their form and telling patients that in order for me to do this laser, you must use this type of sunscreen. You must use this specific product because they're protecting the outcome.
Makes sense.
Side of it. Yeah,
absolutely. So to add to what you're saying, you guys are definitely doing great things for your clients. So one thing I want to share with everybody, it's part of the PRIDE system that we teach in making recommendations. It all it's so important to put the responsibilities on the providers in your place. So we implemented one very simple form at the end of the treatment. It's called the guest recipe form, where they would write down the next treatment they need to have and then what home care products they need to take. And no one is allowed to check out. No one is allowed to check out unless that form, whether it's electronic form or whether it's a paper, whichever way, they need to take that to the guest relations team, to your reception team. And that's where they fulfill that order, basically. So if you just implement that one thing to make it, again, part of that journey that Heather was talking about, and you make it a mandatory part of your process, then you are going to get to that $1 million mark or $1.5 million or 2 million or whatever it is that you want to do. So between making the recommendations from your providers, between your online shop, between all your social media platforms, with the link that Heather was just speaking about that they can go and purchase. I mean, when you combine all these different avenues, you will make $1 million, $1.5 million more in retail. But again, it's up to the owner, the leader, to decide that, yes, I am going to do this. I'm not going to take it anymore. But you have to make that decision. Don't you agree that that's really where, and I'm hoping that everybody that's watching us today kind of gets this?
I couldn't agree more. You're absolutely right. That is the thing. The owner has to decide that this is what we believe in, and this is why we do this. And when they do that, it takes away the feedback that they might hear from their staff of, I don't want to sell, right? Or I don't want to be pushy. It's not about any of that. Right. It's completely about driving the patient experience, optimizing the outcome, and protecting that patient's connectiveness to the practice. It's amazing that someone could walk out of a practice, even though they may have a beautiful shelf of retail product, someone could still walk out of the practice not realizing that they should have bought product there. And the reason why they didn't realize it is because nobody on the staff told them that they should purchase that product. So what do? They get on the web, they get on, they go Google searching, or they go to a drugstore, a department store, or hop on, Amazon, and look for someone who's willing to tell them what they should use. And so I agree, Dori, that is the missed opportunity that is still happening today for too many practices.
Yeah. What is the one thing, if somebody now is convinced, we've made our point, Heather, what would be the one thing that they can do right now to get started or to reach out to Colorescience? What's the process for our audience?
Sure. So if you're watching and you're saying, gosh, I love what the brand believes in, we believe in our motto is do good, have fun, make a difference. And if that resonates with you and you're interested about learning more about Colorescience, please contact us at professional@colorescience.com. Because you are watching Meet the Experts, we have a special offer for you. If you're looking to bring on Colorescience, we have a new account offer where we will give you a complete starter package that's, depending upon what you decide to go with, is valued anywhere between $500 and $1,000. In addition, we will provide you with a practice page complimentary too. So we talked about how important that website link is.
Absolutely.
And I think, Dori, you have something for them as well.
Well, retail is dear to my heart, and as I mentioned, it's the biggest missed opportunity. So I want to do something special for all the Meet the Experts audience, and specifically this show, because Heather is on it. We would like to give everybody the Pride System. This is actually our #1 seller program. It's called Don't Sell, Recommend, and we teach in it the Pride System. So if you take Colorescience products, you change that mindset, you implement the Pride System, I'll guarantee you'll be able to do $1 million, $1.5 million in retail sales by following this process. So between what they share with you and between this system, there is nothing that will stop you, you guys. Seriously, this year can be the best year ever for you, especially with everything that we're going through right now. You've got to make the shift. You got to have money coming from online. You have to have money coming from the team. You have to have money coming passively, so while you're sleeping. So if you focus on all these different revenue streams and all geared towards skincare or retail in general, you are going to be so much better off. So that's our gifts to you. Isn't that nice?
So nice. Very generous. And getting a gift like that, it's all about implementation.
Absolutely.
So
Hallelujah.
That's the biggest.
You're singing to the choir here. Oh my gosh. That is so important, Heather. And that's really the other biggest mistake that we find is a lot of people, they go to conferences, they attend this, they see that, they buy a book, and though they get stuck in that educational mode instead of going into the action mode. And implementation is definitely one of the most important things to really reach success. And that's why it's good to partner with, companies like yours, because you do have that infrastructure in place, to keep people going, to keep bringing in new innovative products, to keep educating the team. And that's why I really wanted to invite you here, because you guys do so many great things, and we definitely need to spread the word and let everybody be part of this. It's very exciting.
Thank you.
Very, very exciting. All right. Well, any last points you'd like to make, to any last minute advice you want to give everybody?
Yeah, Dori, you mentioned innovation, and sometimes talks like this or going to a conference can inspire someone to say, you know what, we do need to pay attention to retail, and maybe we need to do a little bit of revamp. Do I have the right products? Mm-hmm. How do I determine if I have the right products? Mm-hmm. And so as you're looking at evaluating your product line, some tips that we would recommend to think about is, are you partnered with a brand who is bringing programs forward, like a practice page or a loyalty program? Mm-hmm. Do they bring you more than just the product? And the other part of that is, are you partnering with a brand that's dedicated to innovation, meaning they have tried and true cult favorite products, but they're also on the front lines of innovating to help make sure that your products are supporting your procedures and are on, I don't want to use the word trend, mm-hmm. but they're listening to the consumer and understanding where she is right now or where he is right now, and, mm-hmm. and what they want from their mm-hmm. products. Mm-hmm. Those are the types of things beyond just price point and what is your minimum purchase amount. And those mm-hmm. things, I get it. Mm-hmm. That's an important business aspect, but I would encourage you to look beyond that mm-hmm. and really identify what is that company that you're partnering with. Mm-hmm. We call our practices partners because mm-hmm. we really believe it's a business partnership. Mm-hmm. So that would be my last minute bit of advice is to look beyond just what's your minimum buy-in and those things, and look a little bit further to what they can bring to the table for you.
Yeah, because we're not talking about minimum sales here. We're talking about ginormous amount of sales. So the last thing you should be considering is what is the minimum order. Because if you're thinking that way, you're coming from the wrong place. That's my philosophy on that. So you really need to invest in your business, whether it's skincare products, whether it's education, whether it's systems. Those are all very important things that you really need to be focused on. So think big. I want you to think big, not small. That's not what we're talking about. This is not the show for you if you're thinking small. Anyway, I want to end by inviting everybody to go to Colorescience website, reach out again to Heather and the rest of the team, find out how you can partner up with them and how they can add value to your business so they can help you elevate your success. While you're doing that, I want to invite you also to go to InSPArationManagement.com. You should get a copy of my book, How to Make Millions with Your Medical Spa. When you call us, again, mention Meet the Experts. You're going to get the Don't Sell, Recommend totally complimentary. And I really want to make a difference in the industry. And that's why we're doing the Meet the Experts show right here in our studio. And I want to invite you, if you too would like to be an expert on Meet the Experts, you can go to meettheexperts.com and be able to apply to be our next guest. Heather, thank you so much for being with us. It's been such a pleasure having you. We have to do this again. We have to report back to say, yes, here's what we did.
I would be honored, Dori, and thank you for having me. And thank you most importantly for your dedication and your team's dedication to elevating our industry and the practices out there. It's a really special thing that you're doing. So
thank you so much. I appreciate that. All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for being with us. Until next time, stay inspired.